Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Look at that delicious graphic pop up there. A great way to support the show is go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood, where you can submit articles like Alex Talk did. Democrats are innocent bystanders. Now, this is something we've talked about here. You know, what we're going to get into is how, okay, the Trump folks, conservatives, not exclusively, but they're still saying that the election was completely rigged and Joe Biden cheated. And what this article goes into is how the Democrats really started this 4 years ago with their Russiagate. This is the problem with the two-party, the duopoly. This is the problem. This is what this article goes into. It's very bad that Donald Trump is raising fundamental doubts about the veracity of the 2020 election and the legitimacy of Joe Biden's victory, but it isn't entirely unprecedented. Our only hope for de-escalation of partisan rancor requires coming to terms with each side's contribution to our present impasse. And I want to make that real clear. Is there legitimate stuff to say the Democrats did in this election to cheat? Yeah, sure, of course. But the Republicans cheated too. The Republicans always, and they did it again this time. The Democrats have openly cheated in their primary the last 2016 and 2020. They've cheated Bernie Sanders openly, like very obviously. He doesn't hold them accountable for it because he's either weak or he's designed to sheep herd progressives and just nosedive us, get us all on a plane. We're going to change the Democratic Party and then just drive us into the side of a mountain so we can't actually get what we want and make any real change and get this country out of the hands of the oligarchs, which control both parties. So did they mess with mail-in ballots? I'm sure that they did. Some of the evidence, I'm like, But what's happening, and people will Graham, this thing, okay, cool, fine. But the problem is not, did the Democrats cheat or not? It's that the system's broken. Because I still haven't heard one single of these voter fraud people explain to me how Donald Trump got more votes in 2020 than he did in 2016. How did that happen? The first thing they say is there's no way Joe Biden got more votes than Obama did in 2008. Well, there was a pandemic. And again, I'm not a Biden supporter. I didn't vote for either one of these rapists, the rapist pieces of shit. Let me make that real clear. I watched the debates last month and I was so despondent. I was like, these are the two best people. This is our only chance. Is the lesser of two rapists. Both of them are for fracking. So one's with fracking that believes in science and one's for fracking that doesn't believe in science. Oh, but at least the vice presidents. Oh, we've got one that doesn't want to have lunch with women because he can't control himself because he's a wingnut Christian who's probably a closeted homosexual. Oh, and then we've got the woman that put 100,000 black people behind bars and loves being a cop. Awesome. Awesome choices. Awesome. So both parties have created this problem. So Hillary loses in 2016. Oh, it must be Russia's fault. The Democratic Party doesn't analyze any of their problems. And they don't want to, and the Republicans and Rudy Giuliani, as his hair leaks in front of a dildo factory or whatever, one of those stupid, we're in front of Four Seasons lawn care. If the Onion wrote that, I would have laughed, but said, yeah, this would never really happen. Our political system is ridiculous. That's my point. And both parties have contributed to this. So now Trump people and right wingers and some other folks are saying that there's no way, which is a backwards. It's a journalistic thing, right? It's journalism 101. And I don't consider myself a journalist. I'm a comedian that likes making fun of how broken our system is. You come to a conclusion and then work backwards to find evidence to support it, right? The Democrats did that with Russiagate. There's no way Hillary had double-digit polling numbers. She was going to crush. There's no way she lost to Trump. So then they work backwards to find anything to support that Russia, right? And Russia, so anything they hear, Russia, did they try to influence the election? Of course they did. A lot of countries do. AIPAC spends a lot of money influence. They buy politicians. Russia spent, we found out in front of Congress, Russia spent $100,000 on Facebook ads. They're trying to influence the election, but they didn't hack. They did $100,000 in Facebook ads. Really? That's what did it? And then Google said in front of Congress that there were $4,700 in ads spent by Russia on Google that they identified. So just under $105,000, that defeated Hillary's $1.5 billion. Russia's been debunked, right? And this fight for election integrity, or the Trump people just can't admit it. This is the problem with the two-party system. Whenever one of them loses, they bitch and moan that the other side, because the Republicans have shut down in this election, which they do in every election, Republicans shut down polling places in black and brown neighborhoods. The governor of Texas was trying to not allow mail-in votes from a black district. The Texas Supreme Court said no. Lindsey Graham there's that phone call, Lindsey Graham saying, don't take these mail-in ballots from these zip codes where black people live. The two Republicans in Michigan on the board of governors, or with the board of elections, trying to not count votes from Detroit. Come on, man. That's the problem with this two-party system. They both cheat. And this is what this article talks about. Asymptomatic polarization thesis, according to which the primary political story of the past few decades has been the continual radicalization of the Republican Party, with Democrats holding fast to the center left. The theory derives its plausibility from the fact that the Democratic base includes large numbers of ideological moderates, the voters who backed Biden and gave him his decisive victory in the 2020 primaries. Well, that's not true. That right there is and again, that's kind of what this article it kind of thinks Russia. It's a little neoliberally, this article, but it's in the show notes. Read it. But that's the problem. What has happened in America? That's the ideology, right? Democratic Party's holding fast. No, the Republican Party has gone hard to the right, and the Democratic Party has followed them. So now the Democratic Party has moved so far to the right that they're actually where the Republican Party was 30 years ago. That's why you have literally people like Liz Warren. 30 years ago, she was a Republican. Her views haven't changed, but just everything's moved to the right. So now where she's standing is the Democratic Party. That's why when I hear the Fox News people say, Joe Biden's a fascist, Marxist, I laugh. And then I go, God, I wish. Joe Biden is a Republican. He's against Medicare for all. He's against a Green New Deal. On down the line. But this is what this article is, and it's a valid contention that the Democratic Party is part of this contentious duopoly. That's why our choices are a shit sandwich or a shit sandwich with lettuce, right? The Democratic shit sandwich is a gluten-free bun with organic lettuce, shit sandwich, and the Republican shit sandwich is wholesome red, white, and blue bun, wrapped in a fucking American flag wrapper, and it's got American cheese on it. Still a shit sandwich. You are both eating shit sandwiches. Instead of an honest soul searching about how and why so many voters in the upper Midwest took a chance on Trump and rejected Hillary Clinton after many of them had voted for Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012, a valid point. The Democratic Party refused to go, why did we lose? No, Russia. It was just Russia. Was it? Or was it the fact that, and I'm sure the Republicans they manipulated and cheated in 2026. I'm sure they did. But you can't deny the fact that when Hillary was doing $10,000 a plate dinners in cities like New York and LA and San Francisco and Chicago, Trump was campaigning in front of closed factories in the middle of the country going, I'm going to get your job back. I'm going to fight for you. This working class white people who've been completely abandoned. The Democratic Party refused to look at that. They refused to look at states that voted, like West Virginia, voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary and then voted for Trump because they're like, we didn't forget NAFTA. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton were part of NAFTA that took a lot of people's jobs away. They didn't forget that. The Democratic Party didn't want to look at that. And the Republican Party now doesn't want to look at the fact that Trump is completely fucking bungled COVID. And everything like red states that never had mask mandates because they wanted to be in line with Trump, who said masks aren't that effective, right? They've switched their tune because some of those states are hit the worst. The Dakotas. I mean, you've got Republican governors saying, sorry, mask mandates, more shutdown measures. That's been happening in the last month. Before the election, that was happening. That's significant. You can't just say Joe Biden cheated. Again, I'm sure the Democrats did some type of cheating in this election. I'm sure that they did. I'm not saying this was a fair and honest election. That's a joke to me, but it's never fair with these two corrupt parties. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I have to repeat that because there's still going to be some dipshit in the comments who's going to go, Graham thinks Joe Biden is great, or whatever. This is the wrong argument to have. The argument is this two-party system creates this environment where no matter whoever loses, they've got some bitch-ass excuse that has not much evidence. And anyone watching goes, there's all this evidence Biden cheated. You know who you sound like? All of the Russiagators, even though that's been debunked. They've done recounts in Georgia. You've got, the ballots were all fake. Probably. It's like the old kind of, campfire story was like when Kennedy beat Nixon in 1960 was like the Nixon campaign couldn't accuse Kennedy of cheating better than them because both of them cheated. Nixon stuffed ballot boxes in the South and, Kennedy had San Giancana, mob boss, get a bunch of dead people in Chicago to vote for him. I grew up in Chicago. There's dead people voting in every election. There's a lot of really solid people that care about our democracy that are dead in Chicago that always get to vote. These people get ghost payroll. Chicago's a fantastic city. But I'm drawing these comparisons to show you, not to take a side that I love Joe Biden, but to show you it's all corrupt bullshit. Don't fight about this. This is the dumbest hill to die on. You really want to die on this hill? What's that? You really want to die on this hill? You want to line up with QAnon people? Are you sure? John Posobiec or Jack Posobiec? That guy's a wingnut. All right. Far too many Democrats began espousing widely exaggerated tales of Russian interference in the 2016 election, including outlandish and now debunked stories of active collusion between the Trump campaign and Russian intelligence. And they did such a great propaganda campaign. I just met somebody and they were like a friend of a friend. Oh, I hear your friend. Oh, we're just talking. We're like at the beach, we're talking, and they're like, oh, what are you working on? Oh, I got a YouTube channel. It's doing well. And I'm finishing up this documentary when I went to Russia. And oh, what was really? It was awesome. I had a great time. Wow. Did you meet Putin and ask him to stop interfering in our election? This person said to me. So he made it. I'm like, oh God, they're a neoliberal. And then I said, yeah. And then he asked me to tell the CIA to stop interfering. That was part of my argument with the Russia thing. They're interfering with our elections with just a complete blind eye to how the CIA is just, all we do is interfere. The CIA interfered with this election. They interfere on their home soil. So accusing the Democrats of cheating without holding the Republicans accountable for any of their cheating is like, come on. They do voter suppression. That's their big angle. That's what the Republicans love doing. There was a ballot box in Riverside, California, which is largely in a Latino neighborhood, that somebody set on fire. Oh, weird. Come on. White nationalists threatening people. Somebody at the Republican Party didn't hear about that or know about it, or they certainly didn't tell them no. Come on. The blame dodging often took the form of claims about the Trump presidency that anticipated the nonsense that Trump now asserts about Biden. We gotta love the internet. So Trump is making all these claims. Biden cheated, and yet Giuliani say Venezuela's involved. Wait a minute. But I thought, isn't Venezuela busy fighting off a CIA coup with your fake guy, Juan Guaido? Remember this from 2017? Oh, look, it's Nancy Pelosi, May 16th, 2017. Our election was hijacked. There is no question Congress has a duty to protect our democracy and follow the facts. And now Trump's putting this stuff. And you really are going to pick a side on this one and say that it's bullshit. She hasn't gotten your stimulus, and neither has Mitch McConnell. When are you going to wake up? When are you going to wake up? Biden is putting in his cabinet a bunch of warmonger and fossil fuel people, just like Trump did. Hey, man, you can't cheat better than I do. I mean, yeah, I cheated, but you can't. You're cheating more than I cheated. That's not right. I mean, when I cheat, it's like honorable. My cheating is... This is all just from the last 4 years. Will Trump be meeting with his counterpart or handler? Trump Putin. Trump Putin. That's what they're trying to say, right? A plausible theory of mind-boggling collusion. Remember Hillary Clinton said? Remember when Hillary Clinton said, I ran a shitty campaign? The reason I lost is because I didn't campaign in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Remember that? No, she didn't say that. She blamed Russia, Burn Bros, Jill Stein. Who else? Susan Sarandon. Who else got blamed? So now Giuliani with his leaking hair is blaming. It's the same bullshit, man. Don't fall for it. Hillary Clinton. Trump, an illegitimate president. And that's after she yelled at her staff for saying, how come you guys didn't cheat better? How come you let Trump out cheat us? Narcissistic sociopath who can never admit she's wrong. Sound like anyone you know? Trump can never admit he's wrong. Trump can't admit the one thing, I said this on this show, Ron Placone said this on, a bunch of us said this. The only thing that would Trump was looking like he was going to beat Biden, or like Biden is awful and he's going to lose. And I was more than ready to do a bunch of videos showing this is why Biden lost, because he's so stupid and bailed on progressives, and they ran a Republican with Republican people at their Democratic convention, John Casey, all these awful people. This is what you get. The only thing is if Trump bungles COVID so bad that people just are like, Trump ruined, he didn't handle COVID right, so we're voting him out, which happens during a crisis. And when Nancy Pelosi was like fighting over stimulus and stuff, and Trump was talking about, I mean, had Trump just given people UBI, he talked about that. Had he just given people free health care, he would have won, but he didn't. Trump fucked up COVID. I mean, you got to admit that. He just handled it horribly, said it wasn't real, didn't wear masks, numbers spiked. He got COVID. His staff has gotten COVID. 700 deaths have been linked. And you can sit there and go, Graham, I don't believe COVID. It's fake. Okay. I know. Surgeons have been wearing masks for decades because what? Hillary doesn't want to own her mistakes. That's why she lost. Trump doesn't want to own his mistakes. That's why he lost. Both parties cheat. See, all those things can be true at the same time. Our latest government economist poll has a host of troubling findings about public confidence in the election. 86% of Trump voters say that Biden did not legitimately win the election. 73% say we'll never know the real outcome of this election. All these things were said by Democratic Hillary voters 4 years ago, but about Russia. I just showed you what Pelosi said. We also see the usual patterns and attitudes about mail-in voting and fraud. 88% of Trump voters say they believe that illegal immigrants voted fraudulently in 2016 and tried again in 2020. But Trump won in 2016. Again, nobody in the voter fraud camp can explain to me how Trump got more votes in 2020 than he did in 2016. How did that happen? How did that happen? Republicans are also exhibiting some concerning attitudes about the franchise, with 46% saying that some people are not smart enough to vote 27% among Dems, and 43 saying that people should have to pass a test before voting. Yeah, both parties hate you. Both parties hate regular people. They hate you. They hate you. They hate you. Trump hates you. Biden hates you. They all hate you. 89% of Trump voters think he should contest the outcome of the election in court, and 60% of his voters think it will change the outcome. Fewer than half of Americans expect there will be a peaceful transition of power to a Biden presidency. Eliminate the oligarchs. And this helps fuel, by the way, the Russiagating and this voter fraud now 4 years later helps fuel the ruling class's mission of keeping us divided. If we're in the streets fighting over this, just like we were fighting over Russiagate, great, we're divided. We're not uniting in the fact that what we really need to do is take out the ruling class. What we really need to do is say, we want a whole new voting system. Here's what you should be fighting for. Open source blockchain voting. Ranked choice voting. Eliminating the Congress and the Senate. You heard me. Read Mike Gravel's book. It's easy to do. Direct access. There's a bill that's put. It's got to be 500 words or less. It's got to be in plain English, not legalese. And Americans vote on the bill. What if we just had that? Oh, it's got to go to Congress and a committee and the no. You want Medicare for all. Here's what Medicare for all is going to be. It's 500 words or less. This is how it's going to be funded. America, do you want to vote for it? Yes or no? We all go online. It's open source blockchain. It's secure from hacking. Boom. We got free healthcare. Here's a bill to cut the military budget in half. 500 words, clear English. This is how we're going to do it. Vote for it. No Congress and this and that. Congress and the Senate. That's where all the lobby groups are. That's what you should be fighting for. Because this keeps us divided. Pepsi drinkers think Coke is a lie. Coke drinkers think Pepsi's a lie. Coca-Cola rots your teeth and gives you diabetes. Here's AOC. I mean, Coke Zero. U.S. political culture is suffering from a self-perpetuating disease of delegitimization, in which each side indulges in conspiracies that portray itself as an innocent victim of injustice. They both caused it. Get rid of the duopoly. Get rid of the duopoly. That's where you should focus your efforts. Many ways to do that. Get behind a third party like the People's Party. Get third-party people, not progressive Democrat. Get third-party people. The majority of Americans want free healthcare. The majority of Americans want $15 an hour minimum wage. The majority of the Americans need stimulus now. The majority of Americans don't want to spend all this money on military when it could be spent here at home. The majority of Americans want this. Fox polls show this. Stop getting caught up in this stupid two-party slap fight. It's designed to keep us divided. Yeah. I'm glad Trump's gone, but I'm not excited about Joe Biden at all. And had Trump won, I would be like, I don't know. Is this bad? I don't know. I'm not happy Trump got reelected, but I'm glad Joe Biden's not. No, they're both. It's a shit sandwich. Either way, it's a shit sandwich. Don't fight over who, made the sandwich. This is like the Titanic is sinking and you're arguing about the captain of the boat lied on his job application. The boat's sinking. Everybody lies on their job applications. All boat captains are drunks. Thanks for watching the show, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. We're being unsubscribed at an alarming late because Google owns YouTube and Google's been working with the CIA. So they don't want me talking about unity. They don't want me saying both parties are bullshit. They don't want me to say, hey, this is how they're keeping us divided, is fighting over this. Did Trump cheat? Did Biden cheat? Did Russia? They don't want a message of unity, man. They don't want it. But that's why you come here. And that's why you support what I do. This is my honest opinion, folks. Nobody's telling me what I can or cannot say. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Democrat. I am an anti-war, pro-labor, pro-environment socialist. So if you're a liberal or you're fucking alt-right, go suck it. Thanks for watching the show. Shave your knuckles for justice. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.